How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. We have a big week ahead for the markets. We also have the all-in podcasting that Bitcoin might be the best solution for people moving forward with what the Fed will have to do. I want to play that for you. Also go through a couple other things that are happening in the market. If you don't mind, hit subscribe, turn on the bell notification underneath the video to see future videos just like this. This one might be a bit of a shorter one, so stay through to the end. If you want to trade crypto, there's a link to Margex underneath where you can start longing and shorting the market if you want to do that. But you can get this set up in just a few seconds, because there's no KYC, you don't need a VPN. You can start trading. You can long the market, like I said, doing a variety of different things. But one thing that you can do is you can trade the market using different forms of collateral. So for example, if you think Bitcoin's going to go up, maybe you want to leverage long on Bitcoin. You can do that up to 100x, and you can use different forms of collateral. So maybe you want to use Bitcoin because you think it's going to go up, and then your underlying collateral also goes up in value. So check that out underneath the video. Let's start here. We have a pretty huge week for the market. We have a lot of earnings. Starts off Tuesday. A lot of people like SoFi stock. There's McDonald's too, BP, Pfizer, Crocs, Royal Caribbean. There's a lot of brand names that people know this week they're announcing. After close is probably where it's going to get a little bit more interesting with AMD and Alphabet, Visa. These are some massive companies that are announcing right now. A lot of retail interest, a lot of institutional interest. Chipotle also announcing that day. Then Wednesday, we have more tech giants. After the bell, we have Microsoft, Meta, Coinbase, Robinhood. Okay, Starbucks. Starbucks is at the bottom of the list, and this is such a big company. Thursday before the bell, we have Uber and Peloton and MasterCard, Altria. After close, we have Amazon, Apple, Intel. Then Friday, we also have Fubo, which some people pay attention to, Chevron, Exxon, Wayfair, etc. So a lot of big companies announcing earnings this week. It'll be really interesting. I think this will influence the market a good amount, just based on what these companies are saying, how they're growing. We do have some big economic data as well this week. For example, we have GDP on Wednesday. It's expected to come in at 3.2% for Q3. In the last quarter, it was 3%. So they are expecting a bit of a jump. And then Thursday, we have PCE and core PCE. So a lot of people will be watching this as well. The next inflation gauge. Right now, people are worried that depending on who becomes president, that inflation might kick back up because of the economy heating up as well. So good growth, but more inflation. We saw Paul Tudor Jones talk about that earlier this week, that he was looking at, a mix of NASDAQ, Bitcoin, and gold, because he thinks that the only way for the U.S. to get out of debt is to grow faster. So that will be interesting to see how PCE comes in. Of course, the week after that is the biggest week that we've had in a long time, maybe in years, with the elections. So we're going to get that. Not this coming week, but the week after. And we're also going to see the next Fed rate decision. Keep in mind, you want to have platforms that you can actually get to. Like, look at this. Coinbase scheduled maintenance happened today. I actually logged into the app to try to do something. And yeah, apparently they just sent this out that they're going to have an upgrade, right? They do these so often that it gets really annoying. And when there's volatility, when there's high volatility, you can't even trade. You can't even get in and position yourself in the right way. So again, if you want to check out the links underneath the video, you might want to do that ahead of some of these big events. Now, this last week, there's a ton of money flowing into the Bitcoin ETFs. You can see 79 million coming out on Tuesday, but 294 million went in the day before, 192, 188, 400. So we had an inflow of about $1 billion this week, 3.1 billion in the last 2 weeks. Now, some people would say, well, why hasn't Bitcoin gone up then? Keep in mind, it has gone up over the last 2 weeks. We went all the way up to almost 70,000 as well. But when you zoom out, we are significantly up from where we were a couple weeks ago. 2 weeks ago was the 12th. We were at 62.5. And a couple days before that, back on the 10th, we were at 59,000, under 59,000. So we are much higher. Part of this is uncertainty, as I've said, but uncertainty and like war, that kind of stuff, FUD, doesn't last forever. Marty Party says, war is over, markets reverse. If Bitcoin hits only 67,900, $100 million of shorts will liquidate on Binance alone. Now, I want to play this. This is from the new All In podcast. I'm actually not done with the podcast, but this is from it. I was halfway through today, and then making this video, I saw this. Take a look at what they say.
Has kind of left the market or is leaving the market. Who does that leave? Well, at the end of the day, the Federal Reserve has been the kind of buyer of last resort. And if they end up buying treasuries, that's where we have a problem with too many dollars and inflation kicking up. And so it feels like a lot of the trades in assets are what's going to benefit from the inflation. And it's going to be gold. It's going to be Bitcoin. And in some cases, because you're pumping more money in the system, it's going to be equities. And that might explain why equities are moving up as well. Where do you guys invest here? I mean, Chamath, do you care about how the market's positioned or how you're positioned in this election right now? And based on how we're seeing markets trade and what these kind of macro indicators are telling us, or are you just business as usual, heads down, invest and build as you always have?
Yeah, I think that you can't trade these things. And any attempt to do it is probably a level of false precision where you're going to lose more money. And there's a lot of slippage in even just trying to execute it. I mean, at the beginning of the year, I said the breakout asset was going to be Bitcoin. I think it looks like it's going to be the resounding inflation hedge asset for the next 50 or 100 years. So that die has been cast. I think you're seeing the last vestiges of people using gold as a rational economic insurance policy, but I think the future is specifically Bitcoin on that dimension. So I guess you could trade that. You could speculate on that.
I'll say, Chamath, I think generally he's pretty bullish on Bitcoin. Right there, he sounds extremely bullish on Bitcoin, saying Bitcoin might be the resounding inflation hedge for the next 50 or 100 years. That's because it's scarce, because people want it, because it has value. You can send it across the world in seconds. So yeah, people want a piece of that. You can see that, right? And I made a video talking yesterday about how BlackRock alone has bought 2% of all the Bitcoin that will ever be created. They've done so in about 9 months, 9.5 months. Think about what happens after 5 years, 10 years, right? How far is this going to go? Because you have to remember, even when they start with a Bitcoin ETF, they can't push it too hard. They're not going to implement it into every single portfolio and start ramping it up because they still need to move slowly. There are some institutions, some individuals that would not be happy being forced Bitcoin in a short period of time, but they might be able to orange pill them over a number of years, right? So what happens 5-10 years from now? BlackRock probably has 10-20% of all the Bitcoin. MicroStrategy has 3-4-5%. Other institutions are buying up Bitcoin, and where does the price go? It's got to go up. So I think that Chamath has a good point there. He's probably been swallowing up some Bitcoin as well. Dennis Porter does give us a little bit of a tease. He says, at 4:30 p.m. on the main stage in Lugano, I will be making a crucial announcement. I've been working on this project in ninja mode for over a year. It will change the political narrative for Bitcoin forever. Okay, this is 10 a.m. Eastern time. So let's see what he said, because it is after that now. Yeah, it looks like he has not actually said on his Twitter. So I'll let you know in the next video if it's something significant in my mind. Let me know what you think about all this underneath the video. Let me know if you think Bitcoin is the best inflation hedge for the next 100 years. Again, if you want to trade crypto, there's a link underneath the video. Thank you so much. I'll see you all in the next one.